والنور الله لا يعطى العاص لا يعطى العاص.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome to this new course in which we will be explaining Usul Al-Fiqh. Usul Al-Fiqh is a very important discipline that is needed by many Muslims, especially here in the West. It is a collection of tools that empower us as Muslims in the West, or as Muslims living in this time and space, to be able to deal with so many problems that we are facing. It is the set of tools that empower a mujtahid also to find solutions for some contemporary problems that Muslims never experienced in the past. It is a set of tools that provide people with an insight to Sharia, and they will appreciate Sharia more. In fact, they will see the miracles of Sharia. The more you study about Usul al-Fiqh and the more you reflect upon Sharia and you mix between both of them, the more you will see the miracles of Sharia, and you will be more convinced about certain rulings of Sharia. Ibn Khaldun, who was the famous sociologist, you can say, in the Muslim world, and even many non-Muslims refer to him as a great sociologist, he said the best of disciplines are those disciplines that mix between aql and naql, that mix between intellect and divine revelation or revelation. And he said ilm usul al-fiqh is that discipline that mixes between intellect and the text or the divine text. It does not rely on the divine text it does not rely on the divine text ignoring the role of intellect. It does not rely on intellect alone and of course ignore the divine text. It mixes between both of them. Once we understand Usul al-Fiqh properly, we will understand how many people went wrong and where they went wrong in terms of their understanding about Islam. Wallahi, once we understand Usul al-Fiqh properly, we will be able to enjoy our Islam more, and we will strengthen our connection and relationship with Allah Jalla wa Ala. That's why I find it really very important and very interesting to explain or to be engaged in this course. Before we start, we need to say that I was trying to survey so many books written about Usul al-Fiqh, and as you can see that most or all the books that have been written about Usul al-Fiqh were written in Arabic, and of course they were written in different periods of times, as we will explain. And most of these books were written to Arabic-speaking people, and they were written in a different environment than our Western environment. They were written in the Middle East, you can say, what is known as the Middle East, or they were written in the Arab world, in the Islamic world. So the point of view of people at that time is totally different from the point of view of people living in non-Muslim countries. This is one thing. The other important factor is most of these books were written to people who already know something about Arabic language, those who know about the sources of Islam, those who know about the sovereignty of Sharia and many other aspects of Sharia. They already know about these things. Moreover, they were writing these books for people who already studied something about Islam, and hence they are not starting from square one in explaining Usul al-Fiqh to them. And that's why if you translate most of the books if you translate any of those books that has been written as I have explained, you will see that this translation does not appeal to Western audience. In fact, my dear respected brothers and sisters, you will see that this translation will not appeal even to young people who were educated in a Western system or in a modern system, because the way of thinking is a little bit different. And in fact, I found that some of those books that have been written in that environment, in that time and space, are not appealing even to Muslims and طلاب العلم, people who seek knowledge, even living in Saudi Arabia these days. Why? Because unfortunately the educational system now is totally separated from the educational system or from the classical educational system, and because of this gap, sometimes what has been written in a certain period of time will not appeal to another generation. And here you have to be careful, we have to be careful. And I'm not saying that those books were written wrongly, a'udhu billah, astaghfirullah, I'm not saying this at all. All what I'm saying that they were written for a certain space, for a certain period of time, and that period of time is different from our period of time, that space is different from our space, and hence it is difficult to it is difficult for people or for this generation to access these books that have been written previously, to access them fully and to access them easily. Of course, we need a bridge to build that bridge between those two sides, and once we build that bridge, we need also to encourage our generation, the طلاب العلم who live now, to be able to access those classical books. Otherwise, whatever we offer will widen the gap between both generations, between the classical books and our generation, and of course this will disattach us from our history, from our legacy, and we have to be careful about that. So whatever we need to offer now in terms of those books, in terms of those sciences, in terms of those disciplines, it serves as a bridge between our generation now, between this time and this space, and the classical books. This is one thing. However, during this course that inshallah we will be engaged in, and through the book that we are going to produce out of this course, we are not going just to bridge the gap, but we are going to bridge the gap as well as offer the classical knowledge as if we are providing a classical book with some complementary information or details or maybe a structure that bridge the gap. So inshallah we'll try to provide both the classical knowledge as well as a bridge to that classical knowledge, in order to remove this possibility of dichotomy between the classical knowledge and the knowledge that is offered now or offered by this course, inshallah. So this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to explain Usul al-Fiqh in a very contemporary language, in a very contemporary style, in a very modern style that appeals to people. We will also try to give contemporary examples that are relevant to our situation now, in order to make Usul al-Fiqh relevant to our situation. And also we will try to bridge the gap between our generation and the classical books. Also, I remember, my dear respected brothers and sisters, that I had a conversation with Sheikh Ja'far Idris, who is a great scholar and who is a thinker, a theologian and thinker, a very intellectual person. And he said to me that if you like Usul al-Fiqh, then you need to present Usul al-Fiqh as a discipline that is relevant to people's life, especially in the West. And see, brothers and sisters, I know that many people say that Usul al-Fiqh, or principles of jurisprudence, is a very difficult science. And many of them, they think that it is irrelevant to our situation, and that's why they abandoned it. And as a result, we see so many consequences in our community, within Tullab al-Ilm even community. And because of this, I'm trying to avoid this. And I'm trying to present Usul al-Fiqh as a science that is that can be understood fairly easily, that is a science that is relevant to people's life, that is a science that can be made useful for many problems that we are facing, many challenges that we are facing here in the West. So I will try, inshallah, to provide this course according to this methodology, to this manhaj, inshallah, and you will see that, inshallah, you will be enjoying the discussion, especially when we give contemporary examples. As I said, because we do not have a book, a classical book that has been written in a language that can be adopted or understood easily by this generation, we are going to use just the titles of those classical books, but the structure will be little bit different from the classical books structure. In fact, I found some contemporary books that follow the same structure that I'm going to present now, or I'm going to present in this course. There are some classical books that there are some contemporary books that are seen as classical books, but they are written in the structure that I'm going to follow in this course. So inshallah we will follow that, and there will be no specific book that we will be following. And inshallah we will try to keep the flow of all the lessons very easy, very smooth, and we will try to focus on the connection between the lessons, different lessons, in order to keep the structure of the whole science, or you can say the architecture of the whole science, intact and clear to the people, so people can understand this science, can appreciate it, and we will try, inshallah, to break the barriers between Tullab al-Ilm and even lay people and this kind of science, Usul al-Fiqh. Inshallah, we will continue in this methodology. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to give us ikhlas. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to give us tawfiq in this endeavor. And we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to give us the ability to complete this task according to Quran and Sunnah. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.